All right, so welcome to this episode of the D2D Apprentice. And this is where our business bootcamp meets collaborative learning. It's where they get to present a business problem. And this one was actually really interesting. I don't get paid for 90 days. I'm in a low cash position as a business owner. How do I keep my reps alive before they quit when they're not gonna see paychecks for 90 days? I don't see paychecks for 90 days. But how do I come up with a good plan and system to keep my reps going? Because in solar, a lot of times it takes 90 days and they're not given M1s. Roofing takes time to produce. Windows takes time to get the production done. And that's when the banks fund. And so you've got to be able to keep your reps motivated to keep working there without having to go quit and get another job. So let's see what these guys come up with.
Welcome. We're happy to have you. Awesome. We're happy to have you.
Excited to get started, baby.
So happy to have you. Welcome.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, we're happy to have you. Welcome. Ready to work hard? Awesome. Yeah, we're happy to have you. How am I gonna pay these guys? I don't know what to do. How am I gonna pay these guys?
You worried about money? So what do we do when we don't have money, guys? We're Pink Floyd Roofing, and what we do when we don't have money is we find more money.
Yeah.
So how we solved this problem was we didn't go to our reps and say, how can we pay you less? Because you're valuable and we want you to start. The 4 of those reps up there, they're gonna be awesome. So what we did is we went to the drawing board and we said, we're an insurance roofing company. So we know that insurance money's tied up for 90 days, but we also know, guys, that the homeowner owes us a deposit. So what did we do? We pivoted on our policy and we went to all 500 jobs we have in the pipeline and we started setting meetings with them. We had approved work that we didn't have cash for, but all of those 500 homeowners owed us a deductible. So we started setting meetings and then we correlated our training pay with the deductibles that we could collect. So our policy shifted, so it became a 50% deposit, and we're gonna run you through the ramp plan and then we'll show you how we connected the dots. So Chase, walk them through the ramp plan.
Awesome.
So we know a couple things. We know we need to wait 90 days to get paid. We know that we do have a way to make more money. And we know that we have new hires that need to be incentivized to be successful, right? So we came up with our 30-30-30 period to unlock different tiers which will pay them throughout those periods. So we actually have in our tier program, we know if we pay someone $500 per week that they're knocking, we have metrics we will be measuring. We have things like our Book of the Month Club, our 30 minutes of the day for door-to-door you, the main things that they're gonna need to do to train, but also their client interactions, their sales. So what we have, it got deleted.
You can draw.
But what we have is we know in their first month that they need to get to 5 quotes. And we're gonna be paying them if they hit that $500 per week. Once that first 30 days hits, you can unlock tier 2 for the next 30 days. If they have hit those 5 contracts in that first month, they can be pushed to tier 2, which they can now earn an additional $500, correct? And that's gonna be $1,000 per week. But now the expectation is during that month that they'll get 8 contracts in that period. They can then ramp up in the next 30-day period if they hit those targets to make $1,500 per week as they continue to close, now needing to hit 10 contracts in that month. So what we're doing is we're incentivizing more sales. We're collecting money up front since we know the homeowners owe an upfront portion of what they need to pay. And we know that if these sellers are selling more, we're incentivizing them to also earn more with that upfront cost.
Okay guys, so what we know is this.
45 seconds.
The average deductible for a homeowner is $1,000. We changed our company policy to collect 50% of that up front. So what Chance just presented to you is the way we correlated our ramp plan around what we know we're gonna get from every homeowner, which is $500. So as we mapped out month 1, that's $500 a week. So we know that we need to have one homeowner meeting to pay for every rep in that first 30 days. And then we correlated that along the 30 days as the pay increases to 1,000 and 1,500.
10 seconds.
So by the end of this, you guys, we know exactly how many over the 90-day period that we need to get, which is 24 homeowner meetings to pay for every rep.
Love that. Okay, all of team 1, go up there.
Again, the score first.
Yeah.
Okay, 7.9. Okay, I think that, first of all, what I think you did really, really well was going into the data. Like, you know your numbers. That's the most important part, right? If you know the numbers, it's a direct correlation to who's selling, and the sales coming in equals the money coming in, right? And so if you can divide that up, I think it's a solid plan. I do wonder about rep buy-in into that program based on the compensation that you're typically used to, right? Which is probably a little bit more upfront heavy. Is that right? 7.9.
So I like that you had a PowerPoint. I like that making more money was the solution. That's always good. My concern, however, on this is homeowner pays the deposit. You're setting appointments to collect the 50% deposit. And you had some good metrics and some good numbers, but what percentage of homeowners are successful in actually paying you the deposit? Because what is the obligation for them to pay it to you? And again, I work with some different roofing companies. Some say, hey, there's no obligation to pay you until delivery of goods and services. So what percentage of homeowners are actually going to pay you the 50%? Because in an insurance claim, you're starting with an insurance claim, you've got adjuster meeting, you've got a bunch of different pieces until delivery, right? Until the actual job is built out. Who's gonna give you the deposit in that situation, right? So my whole thing would be in the 30-30-30, it's great to pay $500 per week, but I think you need to up your numbers of how many homeowner meetings you actually have to be able to pay that. You need to say, hey, probably 3 times that much, 4 times that much to be able to do that. So I give you guys a 6.
PowerPoint was great. Missing a slide, but other than that, you know, the slide got deleted.
The most important slide.
Yeah. But great way to pivot for the whiteboard. You know, I like the little skit at the beginning, entertaining, caught the attention, good energy. You know, one of the things that you know, keeping the reps engaged, right? And how are you going to implement the strategy? How are you going to track? How are you going to make sure reps can see, hey, what tiers am I hitting? What's the implementation strategy to actually implement? What systems are you going to create and implement? I gave you guys a 7.
Ooh, rookie score.
Love it.
Rookie score.
Hey, I gave it 8.5. So. Hey, I'll be the good guy on this one. Normally, the extra 0.5 is for going first, because it's always hardest going first. And no, but I do agree with Jordan on the sense of, you know, do you have a fallback plan of like, do you just walk away from the deal if they're not willing to give you the $500? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, how many times are reps being like, they'll do it, they just don't want to like pay me until delivery. And I don't know, like, I don't know if you've thought through that. And okay, or is it 100? I was gonna say it's 100%. Okay.
We don't go to every single claim before we start to lock in that contract. So in the state of Colorado statute of limitations states if you don't give any goods to somebody, that contract can be broken at any time.
Yeah.
So we collect money up front.
No, and and I know I've seen all sorts of different scenarios with 100% to 0%, right? I've seen companies go 0 contracts even until build. And I'm like, bro, you don't even have anything in writing? They're like, no, just go do it. Like, I'm like, okay. But the piece that I was more confused on, and I wasn't more so dinging on that, I was getting more clarification. It was the 30-30 in the sense of the ramp up pay when you said, hey, we're gonna count their contacts made, count their training hours, but what's the associated pay? that has anything to do with that? Is there a difference in pay?
Yeah, so what it was there's going to be the first month, it was 5, 8, 10 is kind of like the expectation.
But that's deals signed. That has nothing to do with contacts made and or training hours.
Oh, probably just metrics that we have for the fast start was what we were thinking.
Okay.
And I probably just poorly presented that.
Yeah, that's where I'm dinging you. It's because it wasn't clear to me, like, okay, what was the point of that? If there was some kind of like bonus you got on top of the $500 a week, or you don't get your $500 a week if you don't do X, then I would have been like, oh, okay, cool. They thought that one. Where that one I didn't feel is super clear. And then the other one is how much, because you're collecting this, it's self-funding, I'm assuming then, right? Meaning you don't need capital, which I think is cool because you're low on capital. Where a lot of people get stuck is they start coming up with something like this that's not self-funded, especially in solar, for example. Or how many solar companies collect any cash? Almost none, right? So you're like, okay, if I were to do the same model in solar, who's coming up with the money? So now the question would be, and I'm just trying to apply this to other industries, how fast and how much can I afford? Can I afford to hire 10 reps, 3 reps, 20 reps? And am I okay playing bank? And at what point am I done playing bank? You know what I mean? So I love that you picked roofing, and I think this is a great model. I just would say now challenging it, and I'm not dinging you for that. I'm just saying, how do we do it in an industry where maybe, and I would challenge solar companies to start charging up front. Does that make sense? Because like you just said, contracts are null and void until there's like an exchange, but it's like, what are you doing? You're getting teeth in the game. And I think so many solar companies have been free, nothing down, nothing down. I'm like, where in the planet do you ever go do anything with no money down? Like, am I going to start my landscaping? Yeah, that's why you should do it now. I'm like, well, no, that's what every other solar company's doing. Why? Because it's traditionally of their forefathers. But I'm like, this is a $30,000 project. You expect me to go do all the labor, all the stuff with no commitment?
Plus, if you're doing, looking at your volume, if you're collecting something, your sales are going to be stickier.
So
your
sticky.
net positive is better because all that fallout and all the time wasted, you end up making more money as a result because you're more efficient.
Because you could apply the same thing in solar or other industries. So I thought I'd add that. So anyway, great job. Total score. Hold on. We got some weird 0.9s and a 0.5 in it. My math isn't good.
I added a 0.25.
Did you added a 0.25? Okay, 6.25. So total we're at 7.
6.25, guys.
6.
Simon Cowell.
One bite, everyone
Is
knows.
13,
Yeah, come on.
28,
Yeah.
29.65. 29.65. Let's give it up. Okay. All right.